So I was going to ask you what your advice was to pursuing a dynamic career. And I think it's that. Just start something.
Just start. Doesn't need to be big, but just start.
Right.
Like
one thing at a time.
But if you overanalyze things or
Yeah.
even analyze things in my case, you won't do it. And it's a gut thing. And that I think as you get older, you realize the importance of your intuition. And that's led me through March 4th, and then it was like giving yourself permission to be yourself.
Welcome to Invested. We are hosting a mini-series on how to build and sustain fulfilling, engaging careers throughout the different seasons of life with bold and authentic choices. We're talking to several women about their stories in doing this, and we really hope that listeners will find wisdom and inspiration from those stories. My co-host for this mini-series is Sarah Gall. Sarah is a managing director in our global investment banking business. Sarah, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing so well. And can you always intro me? I feel like I also would like a walk-up song if possible.
I was just thinking walk-up music would be lovely.
Yes. But I am doing great and I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, today's episode is about pursuing dynamic careers. And so I'll turn it over to you to introduce our guest.
Amazing. So we are so excited. Our guest today is Kitty Brandtner, who was pursuing a full-time corporate career, but then experienced really what can only be described, I think, as a seminal moment in her life, which was the 2022 mass shooting at the 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois, which compelled her nearly immediately into advocacy work, which then eventually led her to founding a nonpartisan nonprofit, which is focused on ending mass shootings in America. 3 years in, and Kitty now serves as the co-president of the organization, March 4th. So welcome, Kitty. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys for having me. This is so exciting.
This is so exciting. And I'm sure you hear this all the time, but there was a part of me, speaking of a walk-up song, I was like, should I sing The Life of a Showgirl? Right? Yeah.
You guys,
Her name was Kitty.
Yeah. I'm not a Swiftie, and everybody sent me that song, and I'm like, so now.
Okay. Next time. I'm glad I didn't lead with it, Kitty. You know what I mean?
I like it.
I made the right choice of not singing on our podcast. So, okay, we're so glad you're here. There's so much to unpack. Let's start at the beginning. You were working at a really successful staffing agency.
Yeah.
Tell us about that career journey.
Yeah. I was the girl that changed her major 16 times. And then I think they call it a career counselor was like, do you want to graduate? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. They're like, okay, well, none of this coincides. So you got to pick a lane.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at reading and writing. So I'll be an English major and get out on time. So I didn't know. When people would be like, what do you want to do? My answer was, what is there? I had a single working mom raised me, and I knew she was in construction project management, and I didn't know about that. When I graduated, my boyfriend, now husband, was like, you should go into sales. And I'm like, ugh, used cars? No, thank you. That's not what it is, unless you're literally a used car salesman, woman. And so I signed up. I just was applying to everything. It was a really good time to be finding a job in 2009.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll literally do anything, whatever. So then I applied to the staffing agency, and they're like, do you just want to work here? I'm like, sure. They're like, okay, when can you start? I'm like, I'm literally doing nothing. I'll start right now. They're like, okay.
A compelling candidate, Kitty.
Yeah, just really... Yeah, I just dove in, and I just was a sponge, and our CEO and COO taught me everything, I knew, and it was just be yourself and, build rapport. I'm like, oh, this is so fun. Okay, I'm not selling used cars. I was there for 14 years, and I literally thought I would die there in a good way, and I loved it, and I loved meeting people and learning and dipping my toe in all these different industries, and was fulfilled. And, the pandemic came. I had 3 kids. I had my so I had a 3-year-old girl at the time, and then I had twins in June of 2022.
Oh, wow.
fun. But, I had some nice flexibility too, being that it was COVID, you're working from home. Still, I was super fulfilled. So that was kind of, I wasn't missing anything. Does that make sense?
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you about did you consider, I know it wasn't advocacy work, but your headspace was like sort of looking for the next opportunity. Not at all. You were totally fulfilled.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then life changed. So let's talk about this seminal moment. July 4th, 2022. Highland Park, mass shooting. Just tell us, set the stage for us. Tell us about that day and what that meant for you.
Yeah, there was some seedlings prior. I was 25 when Sandy Hook happened, and I was a naive 25-year-old that was like, this is so horrible, and I am sure the adults in the room will figure this out by the time I have kids. And moving through life, etc. And once I had kids, things kind of change. And when Uvalde happened, that was May 24th of 2022. And not only was it so horrific, I had my oldest, my daughter was 5 at the time. And so that was like Uvalde's last day of school. And I knew that I was sending my daughter to kindergarten in August. This is now very much my problem.
Okay.
And then in just over a month, on the 4th of July, I was taking my kids to their first parade in Winnetka. They, COVID, they'd never been to a 4th of July parade, had obviously picked out their little needlepoint outfits 6 months in advance. Like, we're so excited. It's a cute little Main Street type thing. I'm with my sister who owns a business in Highland Park, and she starts getting text messages like immediately that like people are running. And, your first instinct is, it's probably fireworks, guys. Like, it's the 4th of July, or like, no, there's no way it's a mass shooting.
Yep.
Obviously, quickly we realize, yes, it is. And after this shooter had killed 7 people, injured 58, and obviously traumatized thousands, and all of us on the North Shore and beyond are sheltering in place because no one knows where this guy is. So not only are we like locked in our house, windows, doors, everything, but you're making sure your friends and family are safe, are accounted for. I remember getting a text message of a picture of a 2-year-old boy, and my boys were 2 at the time. And he had blood on his socks, and he was in shock, and he was in the care of a friend of a friend. And it was just this mom group of like, does anyone know this child? Because he was alone. And, my first instinct was like, oh no, he got separated. But no, he was orphaned that day because his parents took him to a parade. And like that rocked me. And I always say it was the worst day and I wasn't even there. So I think that first day was just so horrific. And then I woke up the next morning on the 5th of July, and I went from like devastated and depressed to just really freaking pissed.
Yep.
And angry and spicy. And I always stayed like an arm's length away from advocacy, mostly because I didn't think I was smart enough to understand. I donated, and so I get the emails, and it would be like 6 paragraphs of different bills that are happening or some legislation or, Congress. And I just was like, I'll just donate. I don't get it. I have ADHD. Like, that's too much reading. Understand this. And so I quickly started educating myself on the internet, as one does. Like, I ended that day just saying, I get it. I know this is hard. I know that I'm not the first one to say enough. I know I am a white privileged woman saying, can I speak to a manager? I also know I cannot go to work tomorrow. Like, I can't just go. I brought these kids into the world, and I think I want to go to DC and scream at the top of my lungs. And if anyone wants to come, here's my email. And then I woke up and I had 300 emails in my inbox. And so on the 6th of July, I'm crying actual tears of like hope and, possibility for the first time.
Well, I have to say, I have tears in my eyes and chills because it just, I wasn't there, but it takes you right back to that day and all of those emotions, and the fact that you then did something with that is just so incredible. So that was July 5th. You're pissed. You're educating yourself. tell us about those next like 7 to 9 days and sort of what happened.
It was crazy. So it's actually kind of fun to reflect on because what we did as a group of strangers was insane. And in the moment, you know it's insane, but you're just fueled by adrenaline. So 6th of July, I'm getting emails, right? Oh, I can help you set meetings in DC. I'm a lobbyist and I live here. Great. I'm in PR. I can help you get media. Great. I'm in event planning. I can help you with the permits. Great. So
and this is all over the country, Kitty.
Yeah.
This
just
is
from
people...
my Instagram,
Oh my God.
like being shared. I'm like, great, I have no idea how to do this, like, let's do this. I don't know anything, but like, okay, we'll figure this out. And I remember looking at my husband being like, he's in logistics. And I was like, I think I need you to book like 60 flights for me. He was like, what? And I'm like, and I think it needs to be on our credit card. And he was like, okay. And we just made it work. Within 10 days of being a thing, we were in DC with 600 people. So we have 600 people, we rally, we march. It is the most surreal feeling. I just remember bawling like during it. And we meet with 30 legislators.
I do have to reiterate that this was literally 7 days after Highland Park. And you literally mobilized over 600 people in DC.
Like a team did. Like it was like this, many of some staff now at March 4th and volunteers are like day ones. Like it's really cool because what people can do when they just decide to do it, especially moms.
Yes.
It's cool.
That is unbelievable. Okay. So huge milestone. Are you like, okay, we're formalizing this. This is March 4th. I mean, tell us about that.
Well, we named it on the 6th of July when we started the Slack channel because we had to put something on the permit.
Okay.
And so we're like, what is it? And I remember the Slack conversation. And it was like, it's a march and it's after the 4th. And that's kind of a forward motion. Great. Go. Like that was as much thought. Like check. Next thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and you guys probably know this in business, sometimes the best decisions are those instinctual, like, go.
So at this point in the timeline, you are still working full time at LaSalle, right? And you've got 3 young kids. So tell us were you like, this is now my career? Or how did you think about that?
I didn't know what I didn't know, which was everything.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost. Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my CEO was from Highland Park. His brother was at the parade.
Wow.
He was our, one of our first donors. He was like, go.
So you leave and then you're sort of institutionalizing March 4th then. Is that fair to say?
I mean, so I went part-time for like 8 months.
Okay.
And our CEO and I just had a conversation like, this isn't doable. And I'm like, I know. And it was that risk, right? Where like I'm used to earning my living and I was volunteering and I'm like, my husband and I had a very frank chat, and he has been my number one supporter in life, but also March 4th, where he's like, this is something you're meant to do. Like, do it,
Wow.
And so I think I have like a crazy motor. I think it's the combination of ADHD and anxiety. And so I'm like, you just go. So it was just a huge kind of learning curve. And I think in the beginning, we really didn't know what we were doing, as we know. But a lot of what our scaling has been is like getting more mature in some of these things. So what can we do next? We then started bringing influencers, social media, influencers that we call amplifiers to the hill because they can authentically go through this experience and then share it with their audience. And you reach different people and bringing like mom bloggers and health food and all this different stuff. And they're like, hey, by the way, I care about this in a nonpartisan way. I just want kids to go to school and come home alive. And if you want to learn more, join us. And so that's kind of a few of the things that we've done as we've scaled.
It's so incredible. And I literally have written down, I would like to say, that you make advocacy accessible. So as I'm hearing you talk about this, was there any point where you were like, this is too hard? This is too emotional. I can't do it.
Not I can't do it, but this is heavy.
So
and it is.
hard.
I mean, getting to know these parents and family members, because it's not just schools, right?
Yep.
Who have lost someone. It's just it can be any of us. And I think that's like the key here is why it is such a human issue is like, do you go to the grocery store? Do you, even if you don't have kids, like, have you gone to a concert before? Have you gone to, it is so random, so non-discerning. Like it could be anyone. And so you see yourself in these families. And I remember, especially early on, like I just felt very weighted by a lot of these stories. And it's also fuel. And so all of us need to stand up and say, no, this is a collective problem and stand shoulder to shoulder with those that have been impacted.
I would love to talk about sort of the skill sets that you've developed, right? And like coming back, you sort of mentioned sales and how you could sort of harness some of that. Just the way that you're sort of stretching yourself personally and professionally. Like, did you ever, of course you didn't anticipate this, but just how much you've grown personally through all of this?
For sure. It's been incredible. And I think that's like the addicting part is just pushing yourself into strange and unfamiliar areas. Yeah. But it's also, as you guys know, as leaders, like if you don't know something, you bring somebody in that does. And so that's what's been so special is like, I can't plan an event. Like I can't do the logistics. I know I am limited and those are my weaknesses. And yet we have this team who crush it. So I think part of it has been this fun journey of building this thing with like-minded, mostly women, and, tapping on people who, even if this wasn't their, and in fact, almost 100% of the people, this wasn't their background, but the transferable skill sets, like my SVP who oversees most of the organization was in HR before this, did a little recruiting, but was in like corporate HR, M&A. And so she can look at a complex thing. It's like there's transferable skill sets there. And so I think that's what's really cool is like,
and all of this is, of course, sort of inextricably linked to being a parent. I would love to hear sort of your reflection of, you're doing this for your kids. How do you balance all of this? I can imagine your kids are still so young. They don't totally get it, but like they see mom doing like super cool things.
I think that's the biggest thing is like, my dad left, I was 8. My mom was, always a working mom and was always kind of instilling in me, whether she maybe knew it or not, that like, you got to rely on yourself. You can do anything. I wanted especially my daughter to know she can do anything. Like you can do anything you want. You just have to decide and then you have to start. And I think, she was 5 when I started this. She's 8 now. She drew a picture of the earth and she was like, I think that's what you do at March 4th. You just give the world a big hug. And I was like, oh, but like, that's it.
Oh
you
my
just
gosh.
want your kids to feel empowered and to know that like, if you see a problem, you can fix it. You can fix it. You can work at something that feels impossible and you don't listen to anyone that says you can't. And that's, been really, I think you asked about balance. Like no, I'm horrible at balance. Like that doesn't exist. There are times where it's horrible. There are times when it's great. And it just is what it is. I just want them to take away like that empowerment and impact that like, you don't have to be directly impacted by something to do something about it. That's the main driver.
Amazing. And that is such a good thing to teach your kids. But what I want to talk about, which it feels like a hard pivot, but I don't think it is your newest professional venture, a children's clothing store. So I want to hear all about this, where this idea came from, because I think there's some connective tissue.
Yes, it does feel like the other side of the circle. And really at the end of the day, it's solving problems I think I really like. In my town and the surrounding 5 suburbs, there was nowhere to go buy a piece of children's clothes unless you drove to the mall where they will tell you that their inventory is online. And I'm like, my son has red sauce on his shirt and we have family pictures and I just need a shirt.
Yes.
Where do I go? And so it was really that. I mean, literally 6 months ago, I met a friend of a friend and we started talking about this and we're like, like, why doesn't, I feel like we should just open it. Like, how hard? I'm like, I said, how hard can it be? Like, if I can figure out how
Kitty.
progress, like,
This is 6 months ago. This is 6 months ago. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
like I
And
can
it's
sell
open.
kids' clothes to moms that want to buy kids' clothes. Like, okay, let's do it. And I think it's given me a lot of the lightness and a lot of the, other creativity to balance a lot of what I do on the other side. And it's very connected. Like a lot of the we carry women-owned brands, and a lot of the brands that we carry, like I met them through March 4th. So it does feel like it's all connected, and it's just fun. And I'm a little stretched thin as we open on Saturday, but it's temporary and everything's fine.
But you literally went from a concept 6 months ago to you have a brick and mortar store that is cute as cute in your suburb, which is just like
and then I built
incredible.
A little office for March 4th in it.
Yes. Perfect. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. But like literally, how do you do it? Like you said, stretch thin. You have quite a bit on your plate now.
I think, but like meet a mom that doesn't.
Yes.
Like we
Very
all
true.
do. And
Very
like,
true.
yeah, I'm unhinged. Like I said, I don't watch TV. I don't like have hobbies. So I love just like being crazy. And luckily I met a friend now that is equal, like matches my crazy, and we'll be like, oh, this stack. And like, I have this idea. But I think that's, again, it's everybody has so much on their plate. And it's like, I just posted something on Instagram actually. And it's like, just start. That is the only advice. Just start. If you want to do something, just do it. Like, is it going to be perfect? No. But if you don't start, you can't make it better. And that's what March 4th taught me.
So I was going to ask you what your advice was to pursuing a dynamic career. And I think it's that.
Mm-hmm.
Just start something.
Just start. Doesn't need to be big, but just start,
Right.
Like
one thing at a time.
But if you overanalyze things or even analyze things, in my case, you won't do it.
Yeah.
And it's a gut thing. And that, I think, as you get older, you realize the importance of your intuition. And that's led me through March 4th. And then it was like giving yourself permission to be yourself. And same thing where you're like, this is a gap, and this is, so I know we could figure it out. Like, we're not experts, but like nobody was an expert in it's just, you learn by doing. And I think that's the advice, is just like, what fills your cup?
Yes. And I think you're such a beautiful case study in how dynamic careers can be, right? It doesn't have to be a straight line. And just what...
And for women, it rarely is.
Right.
Like, my husband and I have been working almost the same amount of time. And like, I had 3 kids, and so did he. And yet, so I think that's the thing is like, it shouldn't be a straight line. And it's kind of nice that it isn't, because it gives you opportunity to pivot and to dip your toe in. And you can start and make a mistake, or start and realize you hate something. Great. Now you have that to move forward with. So it's all about just giving it a try.
We covered a lot of ground.
Yes, it was so nice.
We talked a little bit about, there's always self-doubt in there, some little portion here or there. Sometimes that voice is very loud. And you talked a little bit about that in terms of just being unsure about what you know, or if you were able to do that. Can you just talk about kind of your inner dialogue, or how you worked through that? Connect these feelings of inadequacy kind of a little bit to like still pushing forward anyway. Because I think that for women leaders, that is something that is present at various moments in various quantities. How did you work through that?
Okay, so if my husband listens to this, he's gonna make fun of me. But because I'm like, I feel like I'm a poster child for therapy. It's just a safe place to like get stuff out of your body. Like, feelings need to get out. And we all know the repercussions of when you shove it down. Not good. So I dealt with really severe depression and anxiety in high school, and suicidal ideations. And so I've been on that side of not letting it out and what can happen, which is very dangerous. And that's why I talk about it. And so I think what I have learned is like, You need to be vulnerable. You need to let it out. It's that space to like get all of my insecurities out and understand why I have them. It's just so helpful to get it out and then organize your thoughts and then kind of come back to like, okay, yeah, no, that instinct was right. Like the self-doubt's there, but I know why it's there. And I know that it's not powerful. Like I can give it power or I can't. So just carve that time out for yourself because it helps you show up as a better mom, as a better partner, as a better friend, and obviously a better employee and worker as well.
Go therapy. I could
Didn't
not
see that
agree
coming,
more.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
As the sister of a psychologist, I co-sign that.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, love it. So many amazing nuggets. I feel like that's like a beautiful place to end. I can't thank you enough for your time. This was such a wonderful conversation.
This is so fun that you guys are highlighting, these stories because it, again, to the vulnerability, like sometimes you just need to hear that somebody else gave it a shot. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to start that Etsy shop. I'm going to go work at that coffee shop. I'm like, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's a takeaway for someone.
Oh, absolutely. I cried. I cheered. Like, what more can you ask from a conversation?
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Kitty, before you sign off, could you just tell our listeners where they can learn more about you online, where they can connect if you want them to connect with you?
Yes.
Where can they find you?
Follow us on Instagram. So March 4th on Instagram is March_4th, spelled like the 4th of July _. But also if you just search it, it'll come up. WeMarchForth.org. And then if you want to come to my little brick and mortar shop in Winnetka, Little Elm, feel free.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kitty.
Thank you guys. This was so fun. Thank you.